So as we all know, as of recent, Misfits Boxing has become the main hub for influencer boxing, and many people are jumping on these different cards. As of the recording of this video, Misfits has done 5 events and soon to have an upcoming event on April 21st, with JMX vs Le'Veon Bell as the main event. Mams Taylor, the main man behind the matchmaking of these events, recently put out a tweet out of his rankings of each event. Instead of making a tweet back, I decided why not just make a whole video going in depth with each event and what made each one of them special. I'll pretty much be focusing on the entertainment aspect of each event while also keeping the level of the fights as well. Again, this is all my personal opinion, nothing is 100% facts. You can leave your rankings for each event in the comments below, however. So now, let's get straight into the ranking of these events, shall we? At number 5, we got Misfits 02. Now, Misfits 02 seems to be most people's least favorite event for good reasons though. However, despite all that, there were still some pretty good fights on this event. We had Anthony Taylor's 2-second knockdown on Ashley Raksu. We also had Slim vs Ryan Taylor as the co-main, and my baby girl Astrid stopping Keely within the first round. But all that aside, this card was kinda mid, to be honest. The Jay Swingler vs Shirley fights was kind of a huge mismatch, but I guess a great warm-up for Jay since he's been out of the ring for 4 years at that point. The JMX vs Jinty fight was kind of an upset in a way, with JMX getting knocked down quite early. However, JMX still got the win in the end, but wasn't his best performance. Like every Misfits cards, there were some pullouts here too. Swarms, the Mike Tyson of YouTube Boxing, was supposed to fight Kristen Hamby, but Swarms had to pull out because he realized he needed more time to train. But either way, the GOAT came back and redeemed himself and is ready to take on Canelo Alvarez. But yeah, either way, this card didn't really have all that going for it, but I guess it was an okay show, and I guess an okay second event for Misfits. At number 4, we got Misfits 05. Misfits 05 is the recent event that happened with Jay Swingler again as the main event, and he was going against Nick Lamau. This card introduced the Misfits tag team match with B-Dave and Louis the GOAT Pineda versus Ice Poseidon and Anthony Vargas. There were also some pretty interesting upsets, with Kenny losing to Ashley Raksu and Nick Lamau taking Jay Swingler the distance. Some snooze fest fights were here, like Kalal Ham vs Jinty, and of course the Waleed vs NNA fight being cancelled. Dean and Waleed were originally on this card fighting different people, but Waleed was removed because apparently he had no opponent. However, we still had Dean vs Puli Arif, which was an alright fight with Dean getting the win as expected. However, one of the main highlights of this event was my baby girl Astrid returned to fight AJ Bunker, and she won that fight. But the real main highlight of the event was the tag team match though, with Pineda and B-Dave winning by TKO. I say this event was, I guess, alright, but not all that compared to the others. Hopefully Misfits 06 ranks higher and has a stacked undercard, and hopefully no pullouts. Well, to be honest, pullouts are now a staple of Misfits event, it seems. At number 3, we got Misfits 03. This event, compared to the last two, had a lot more for it, to be honest. We had Dean the Great vs Waleed Sharks as the main event. Then we had the Hasim Rodman Jr. vs Greg Hardy fight. Also, Temper got his redemption KO over Overflow, and the list goes on. This was the first and only event to date to take place in America, in Austin, Texas. Of course, the main highlight of this event was the Dean vs Waleed fight. The build-up was insane, and of course the beef that escalated. It was a pretty good technical fight though, with Waleed knocking Dean down a couple of times and winning the fight until out of nowhere Dean knocks out Waleed. Well, he knocks down Waleed, and the ref thought Waleed was out of it as Waleed turned his back after getting knocked down, so the fight got stopped with Dean coming out with the win. It was a close match as Waleed was winning the first few rounds, but also Dean was able to get that knockdown and save himself pretty much. A rematch is definitely needed between these two sometime down the line, however. Of course, we had the pro bout with Hasim Rodman fighting Greg Hardy. This fight was insane, especially because of the big weight difference between the two. Greg Hardy ended up winning the fight, of course, but the fight was definitely top tier amongst all Misfits events. FaZe Temper, after losing to Slim by KO, was able to come back and knock down Overflow within the first round. It was a great redemption for him until, well, I guess the KSI fight. But the knockdown on Overflow showed Temper's potential within the influencer boxing space either way. But yeah, this event was definitely way better than the last two from a production and entertainment standpoint, so I'll just put it at number 3. At number 2, we got Misfits 01. Now, hear me out, I know this might seem a bit controversial. Misfits 01 was a great start to these shows, let's not get that wrong. We had some great fights on the undercard like Kenny vs Sensei, Deji getting his first win against Fuzi, Salt Poppy had the quickest KO to date at the time, and of course the upset of the night, Slim knocking out FaZe Temper cold. That first event felt so electric compared to the last YouTube boxing events we've had prior. This event definitely revolutionized YouTube boxing as we know it, from getting a big organization like DAZN involved with this. And of course, KSI had his 2 fights in one night against 2 GOATs that didn't even try on him. KSI was originally going to fight Alex Wasabi, but Alex had to pull out due to having a concussion. At first, KSI's replacement fighter was only Swarms, but the internet wasn't all that happy about him facing one GOAT alone. Instead, he had to face 2 GOATs, with also fighting Luis Alcaraz Pineda on the same night. He would start the show off with fighting Swarms, and of course ended with fighting Pineda. The 2 fights against the GOATs ended up not looking that great however, but I guess this was JJ's return to boxing after 3 years, so I guess these were just great warm-up fights for him in a way. However, he would eventually level up in what's coming next. And at number 1 we have Misfits 04. Now why do I rank this over Misfits 01? Let's talk about that. But first let's talk about some of the highlights. With Salt Poppy knocking down Josh Bruckner, the Slim vs Tom Zanetti fight, the female fight with Elle Brooke against my other baby girl Faith Ordway, and of course the KSI fight against FaZe Temper. There was also a mystery opponent going against B-Dave, which we'll get into very shortly, and most of you probably already know because if you haven't, you've been probably living under a rock. This event overall is definitely arguably, if not the greatest Misfits event to date. Of course, we had the Anthony Taylor vs Idris Virgo fight, which ended up in Idris winning. The Elle Brooke vs Faith fight being a brawl, with of course it being stopped with Elle winning the fight. Swarms got his redemption against Ryan Taylor by 1 punch, and proved to everyone how truly goated he is. The mystery opponent revealed to be another GOAT, Luis Alcaraz Pineda, also getting his redemption against B-Dave and proving how goated also he is too. The Salt Poppy vs Josh fight, of course, had Salt Poppy knock Josh down in the second round and proving that he is on a higher level within the influencer space. The Slim vs Zanetti fight was alright I guess, not as all entertaining as the Slim vs Ryan Taylor fight, but Slim ended up winning by decision and still remained the champ. KSI had the fight with FaZe Temper of course as the main event. KSI definitely improved from the last event and showed that he was on a different level. He was able to knock down FaZe Temper out within the first round and show people what he's really about. This whole event as a whole was definitely top tier out of all the Misfits events. Also, KSI had the face-off with Joe Fournier, a potential opponent for his next fight, but of course we'll just have to wait and see what actually happens. But yeah, there's my ranking for each Misfits event so far. So my final rankings are number 5, Misfits 02, number 4, Misfits 05, number 3, Misfits 03, number 2, Misfits 01, and number 1, Misfits 04. Let me know what your guys' rankings are in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. Suggest other video topics you want me to cover in the comments below. Also, be sure to subscribe, like the video, hit the bell so you never miss out on a brand new video. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I am Mega Shadow, signing out. Goodbye!